Operation Northwoods. The U.S. military planned to attack Americans and blame Cuba. The year is 1962. The Cold War is at its most intense. Cuba has recently undergone a communist revolution under Fidel Castro. The Bay of Pigs invasion, a CIA-sponsored attempt to overthrow Castro, has failed humiliatingly. The Kennedy administration is under intense pressure to do something about Cuba. The Joint Chiefs of Staff have a solution. They call it Operation Northwoods. It is a plan to justify an invasion of Cuba by creating the appearance that Cuba has attacked the United States first. The Operation Northwoods document, signed by the chairman of the Joint Chiefs Lyman Lemnitzer, listed specific proposed operations. These included blowing up a U.S. ship in Guantanamo Bay and blaming Cuba, staging attacks on Cuban refugees attempting to reach Florida, sinking a boatload of Cuban refugees in sight of Havana, shooting down a U.S. drone aircraft, and claiming it was shot down by Cuba while carrying an American passenger list of real people who would be officially reported as dead. The most chilling section of Operation Northwoods concerned civilian terrorist attacks on American soil. The plan proposed having CIA or military operatives conduct bombings in Washington, D.C., Miami, and other cities. It proposed setting off bombs and starting riots at Cuban refugee camps in Florida. It proposed developing a Cuba dossier of terror, a manufactured record of Cuban-sponsored terrorist activity inside the United States to present to the public and to international allies as justification for war. Operation Northwoods also proposed an incident involving a civilian airliner. The plan called for a real commercial aircraft to be replaced at a secret location by a drone painted in identical markings. The real passengers would be transferred to the drone, or the passenger list would be fabricated. The drone would fly on the flight plan, transmitting a distress call alleging Cuban MiG attacks. The drone would then be destroyed, either apparently by Cuba or by deliberate crash. The passenger list would be released with names of people who were supposedly killed. The actual people would have been taken to safety under assumed identities. The document was presented to Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara on March 13, 1962. McNamara subsequently presented it to President Kennedy. Kennedy rejected the entire proposal and is reported to have been visibly angry at the Joint Chiefs for submitting it. General Lemnitzer was subsequently removed from his position as chairman of the Joint Chiefs. He was transferred to command NATO, effectively a reassignment away from domestic military planning. Operation Northwoods was classified and remained unknown to the public for 35 years. It was declassified in 1997 as part of the John F. Kennedy Assassination Records Review Board's release of documents. The document's existence was publicized by journalist James Bamford in his 2001 book Body of Secrets, which brought it to widespread public attention. The reaction was significant. Many Americans found it difficult to believe that the Joint Chiefs of Staff had seriously proposed committing terrorist attacks against American citizens. The document exists. It is real. It was signed. The existence of Operation Northwoods has had a lasting effect on American political culture. It is a primary piece of evidence cited by those who argue that government false flag operations are not only theoretically possible, but have been literally planned at the highest military levels. It has been invoked in conspiracy theories about every major American tragedy since its declassification. This is a problem. Operation Northwoods is real history, but its existence does not validate every conspiracy theory that invokes it. The plan was rejected and never executed. Its existence proves intent was possible, not that every subsequent event was staged. Operation Northwoods stands as documented proof that the United States military leadership seriously proposed committing terrorist attacks against American citizens, sinking U.S. ships, and fabricating evidence of foreign aggression, all to create a pretext for war. It was not proposed by rogue operators or by fringe elements. It was drafted by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, signed by the chairman, and submitted to the Secretary of Defense. Kennedy said no. The question that Operation Northwoods raises and leaves permanently open is, what else was proposed in what other circumstances that was not rejected?